Jordy, come back. You can take it out on me. No, but seriously, Jordy, come back. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Yesterday, I didn't say my last name until the very end of the video, meaning that entire video was just my intro. Grossi, and today we're gonna take a look at 3 veterans and ask the question, should the Packers bring back any of these fine 3? I forgot it's over here. This one. Before we get to that, I got a bunch of shout-outs to do. Some brand new patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and some brand new members on the YouTubes. First, we got Jacob Lefebvre. Thank you for upping from $4 to $12. And then we got Keith Below. Thank you both very much over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy. After that, we got some brand new YouTube members. We got Jesse Zakshesky. Yeah, nailed that last name. KSK Family, Elder Mark, Hey It's Lulz, Sam McCoy, Benjamin Tech, Joey Falgren, Sarah Rhea, and David Bitt, and of course, the S Mac. A thank you to you all for joining over on the new YouTube membership. We are going to be live streaming tomorrow evening, so you could use those brand spanking new emojis. I know people have seen you with your badges. You're looking real fancy and stuff. If you'd like to become a YouTube member, just hit the join button. It's next to the subscribe button that you probably didn't push. And finally, I want to wish a happy birthday to Benjamin Vanderhoek. That's right, and his wife said that she would never leave him, even if Matt LaFleur or Kyler Fackrell asked her to. I'm just saying. If Matt LaFleur called me up and was like, Tom, you, me, let's get freaky. Let's just say, even though he's not Mike Pettin, we'd be talking a whole lot about man coverage. What do I even say on this show? So before we get into this, I do want to say, listen, I know I put Jordy Nelson in the thumbnail, and that's kind of me just being an a-hole, because the amount of DMs that I have gotten about Jordy Nelson saying that he wants to come back to the Green Bay Packers after he went on the Pat McAfee show last week. It was a joke, guys! It was a joke! He wasn't serious! Jordy's not coming back! I love him to come back, but he's not coming back. I'm sorry. It's not happening. He's on a farm now. It's old McNelson had a farm. And we just have to let him be happy. So this episode primarily is going to be focused on Tramon Williams and Clay Matthews. So first, let's take a look at Tramon Williams. The Packers haven't re-signed him. And honestly, Tramon Williams, when we brought him back a couple years ago, I called it a Band-Aid because the guy is turning 37 years old this year, but he has proven the last few seasons that he is still a valuable addition to that secondary, and he can still play at a very high level. Last year, he played 16 games, he started 7, still had 2 interceptions, 8 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, 29 solo tackles, and he only allowed 2 TDs on 35 receptions. That's pretty damn good. On top of that, he played over half of our snaps. He played 62% of our snaps. And the thing with Tramon Williams to me is, one, obviously he's not getting any younger, but at the same time, there is a complete lack of depth in that backfield. We obviously have Jair Alexander, which is great and wonderful. Kevin King, when he can stay on the field, has been pretty good, especially last season. And there's so many other question marks, like about Josh Jackson, who has just not performed. And you also have guys like Chandon Sullivan, who played in 16 games last year. Dusty Evely was talking about Sullivan when he was on the show and kind of having some high hopes for him because we really don't have a ton of depth at the position. And so I thought we would bring back Tramon Williams, but I think that this is just another move where we are going to rely on some of those younger guys, whether it be Sullivan or it's going to be Jackson, to step up in a major way. So for me, I wouldn't mind Tramon Williams coming back on another year contract just because of the lack of depth that we have and because there's so many question marks at the position of cornerback. It kind of just makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, I also understand that At some point, the play is definitely going to fall off, and we have to give younger guys an opportunity to perform. And if we don't re-sign him, I just really hope that that gamble pays off. And then you got the Claymaker, Clay Matthews. When we let him go a couple years ago, I know, there was a lot of sadness over in Green Bay Town. He's turning 34 this year. Started 13 games last season for the Rams. With that, he had 3 passes defended, 2 forced fumble, 8 sacks, 27 solo tackles, 9 of them for a loss, and he played about 55% of their snaps. Now, Clay Matthews obviously was utilized as a rotational player with the Rams, and he found a bunch of success with that. Now, the Rams played to Clay Matthews' strengths. He even said that much going into this season, saying that they're using him as a 3-4 outside linebacker to rush the quarterback, and he found success with that. With the Packers, they kind of already have the outside linebackers that they need, and of course, the constant question becomes, do you move him to the inside? And the thing that I have to keep saying over and over again is that's not where his strengths are. Yes, we have moved Clay Matthews to the inside before when there was literally just a void of talent there. And while he did a stand-up job, he did well. Problem is that, again, that doesn't cater to his strengths, so it almost seems like we are wasting him. So to then bring him back, if let's just say we're moving him to the inside, to be a rotational inside linebacker, it kind of just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You obviously have Christian Kirksey, who's going to take a commanding role there. You have Oren Burks, who's still hanging out there. And of course, you have Kamal Martin being drafted. Am I saying that the inside linebacker position is good? We can just walk away from it now? Not at all. But at the same time, I really don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to bring Clay back just to stick him on the inside, where that's not where he's best suited. But if Clay Matthews wound up re-signing with Green Bay, I wouldn't hate it, but I have to think it's going to be a 1-year low-cost contract, considering that we really don't have the cap to re-sign anybody right now. And while I know he was joking, we'll talk about Jordy Nelson for a hot second. The last time he played was in 2018 with the Raiders. I told you he's turning 35 this year. He had over 700 yards and he had 3 touchdowns. But I just got to be honest, I don't think the Packers are going to make that call. And even if they did, I don't think Jordy says yes. Do the Packers need another weapon? Yes, they do. Do they potentially already have one on the team? There is a likelihood that he is already on the team. Jordy Nelson bringing him back is going to push everyone else down on the roster. We don't even know if the guy is in football shape. He worked out before the Pat McAfee show and everyone was like, his body is ready. So Jordy Nelson, unfortunately, is not going to come back. He's retired. He's loving life. We just gotta let the man live. Or we can start a letter writing campaign. What's the address of his farm? We obviously covered Mike Daniels earlier this week, so he can be on that list as well. So my question to you is, out of any of these veterans, you want to see the Packers re-sign a guy like Mike Daniels, Tramon Williams, or Clay Matthews? And do you think that there is a likelihood that they are going to come back? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media. See down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all of the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.